What is up, Hawk fans? Another day, another loss for your favorite University of Iowa men's basketball program. I'm going back to the shades to commiserate. What is the word? Commiserate the Iowa Hawkeyes and their brutal outings the last couple of weeks. Like we're going to a funeral. This is a fan favorite, so I'm going to continue to do it as long as they continue to lose in this disappointing, lethargic manner. So where do the Iowa Hawkeyes go from here, guys? I mean, I think realistically, this thing could get really bad. I think there's a really good chance that the Iowa Hawkeyes could rattle off several losses in a row to end this season. And if that is the case, Fran McCaffery will be in the major hot seat. His seat will be the hottest it's ever been. And it's not necessarily because Iowa has been terrible per se. It's just because of how long he's been at Iowa, and kind of his inability to push forward, his inability to propel Iowa to that next level. And the bottom line is, whether it's because he's failing to reach the fan base or has failed to reach the fan base, and the fans just quite frankly don't really like the guy, whatever the case. I mean, I think there's always a certain segment of the fan base that's overly critical towards the football and men's basketball coaches. But at the end of the day, however long it's been, whether he's done enough or not, there are a lot of Iowa fans that are extremely tired of Fran McCaffery. And I reference this article all the time. The article I read that stated that the fan base is experiencing an apathetic set of feelings towards Iowa men's basketball. And again, it's because of this inability to push forward, to push through. And it's because of this inability to kind of evolve. And I think Fran McCaffery is making attempts to evolve. I can see that by who he's bringing in recruiting wise, but in the end, it might be too little too late, and I've said many times, I don't think Fran McCaffery will leave Iowa on his own terms unless there's like tremendous pressure and there's like an agreed upon severance or separation agreement, a kind of like mutual parting ways type situation. But that's really rare. At the end of the day, if they were going to do that, they'd probably just fire the guy, because if you're going to end up paying him anything, how much, whatever the buyout is probably close. Well, actually, what am I saying? Fran McCaffery would not agree to that. I mean, because he is going to want all the money that he is owed. So he's not going to step away himself. It's going to have to be the Iowa athletic department that pushes him out, Beth Gates. And in the end, it'll be, and the reason why there's this extreme amount of apathy from the Iowa fan base is because of Fran McCaffery's inability to evolve. Again, I can see attempts here towards the end, but it might be too little too late. And mainly, it's around the defensive end. And for the last couple of seasons, we've heard Fran McCaffery say time and time and time again, oh, we're working hard defensively. We're getting after it defensively. We put a tremendous sense of urgency and self-introspection and focus on the defensive end. And yet, it's the same exact results. I haven't looked at Ken Palm in a while, just because of how the season is done. I don't even think Iowa will be a NIT team. If the season were to end today, they probably would be an NIT team just because they're a big name. They're a Big Ten team. They're still top 100 in the net rankings. And there's probably a lot of teams that would not accept an NIT invitation. But here I'm pulling up. And by the way, guys, Iowa lost to Wisconsin today. I'm going to react to that momentarily. Believe it or not, Iowa is only 73rd. I thought that they would be a lot worse. They have the 31st ranked offense. So they've actually taken a step back this year offensively than what we've seen the last couple of years from them. Their offense has kind of, at the beginning of the season, it was around this area, the bottom half 20s and in the 30s, and then it kind of shot up a little bit to being in the upper 20s. But I think that this probably is where Iowa's offense is this year, especially without Owen Freeman and an ability to get easy buckets from their big. This is probably where their offensive efficiency is. I think it's about right. But their defensive efficiency is 157th in the nation. Okay. And I didn't think it could get worse. Last year, just to put it in perspective, last year, Iowa State, who is 8th, had the 52nd best offensive efficiency, which is still solid, and the first best defensive efficiency team in the country. Iowa, on the other hand, who is 57th in the country and finished 19-15, which is about the pace that this men's basketball team is on this year again. So back-to-back seasons where they finish about 19 and 15. It'll depend on if Iowa even makes the Big Ten tournament, because now that there's new teams, not every team makes the Big Ten tournament anymore. I think it's the bottom 4 teams don't make the Big Ten tournament. I looked at it the other day just to make sure, but I can't remember what it said. I think it is the bottom 4 teams. It's either the bottom 2 or the bottom 4. Last year, Iowa was 157th as well in defensive efficiency, and you all know how rough last year was on the defensive side. In 2023, Iowa made the NCAA tournament, I believe, as an 8 seed. Yes, because that was Philip Obracha's last year, and trying to remember who they lost to in the NCAA tournament. They had the 4th best offensive rating team, but their defensive efficiency was 168th. They lost to Auburn. I totally forgot about that in the second round. So it just hasn't gotten better, guys. It's been 3 years in a row, no end in sight. Like I said, I do see Fran McCaffery trying to get better and trying to get some of the guys needed to defend, guys that are known on the recruiting trail as being high energy, solid wing defenders that are long, athletic, can get up and down, things like that. Obviously Iowa can make the NCAA tournament when they don't have the best defensive efficiency team. But that's only possible when they are one of the best offensive teams in the country. And even then, it's quite difficult. Iowa finished 4th in offensive efficiency in 2022, and they still, made the NCAA tournament as, some of the lower seeded teams, 8th, at finishing 19-14. And it's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable. In order to be a consistent NCAA tournament team, you have to be a team that can finish, top 50 on both sides or close to it on both major categories. And it's so frustrating because it's like such a fixable thing. It is such a fixable thing. Like in the end, defense, and that's why there's such tremendous apathy from the fan base, because there's so many fans that, like myself, they see it as a fixable thing. Like all you have to do is get better schemes, instill a desire into your players to want to defend, and infuse it into the culture of your basketball program. And there are more courageous fans than I that have said, you know what, it's never going to change. Obviously I still pay attention because I have to in order to give you guys the content. But, mentally, I have believed that Fran McCaffrey can make this change. I think at this point, I question whether he even cares enough to make that change. Because kind of the lie that I would tell myself in the past is, well, we've seen it before. Some of the earlier installments of the Fran McCaffrey era had top 75, top 80 defensive efficiency teams. The Jared Utoff teams, the Adam Woodbury teams, the Mike Gesell. But even the Luka Garza teams. But we just haven't seen it in a while. So let's just, because we're at 10 minutes already. Iowa had no answer for John Tanji, who finished with 22 points, as well as John Blackwell, who finished with 19 points. That's a common occurrence. The guards always tear up Iowa's defense because as far as the perimeter goes, they are terrible. Iowa is terrible at defending the perimeter. For as much as Fran McCaffrey likes to say that Josh Dix is a good defender and Drew Thelwell is a good defender, it's like, yeah, they can be good defenders in spurts, and they can maybe get steals here or there, but as far as being able to collectively defend on the perimeter consistently, it's just not there. They had some good, not bad bench production, 8, 10, 13 points from the bench. Wisconsin ended up winning this game 74-63 after Iowa was up at halftime due to a last-second shot that was made by Price Sandfort. Peyton Sandfort finished with 7 points, 8 rebounds in 34 minutes. Seydou Traoré, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists in 29 minutes. It's good to see him taking a step forward. It's too little too late, but it's good, and it will develop him for next year. And I actually do think Seydou Traoré has the athleticism to be a decent player in the Big Ten. And I said when Iowa picked him up that I was happy about Iowa picking him up because he had some of the things that I was hoping Fran McCaffrey would recruit, and he had multiple years left of eligibility. Riley Mulvey started but only played 9 minutes. 0 rebounds, 1 assist, 0 points. Terrible. Josh Dix played 35 minutes, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 13 points. Drew Thelwell, 25 minutes, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 11 points. Lajai Dembele had a decent game, 24 minutes, 4 rebounds, 7 points. Price Sandfort, it's good to see him taking a step forward. I think he's going to be a major contributor next year. Assuming Fran McCaffrey doesn't get fired and all of these guys come back next year, I think there's a good chance that the starting lineup will be Brock Harding, Josh Dix, Price Sandfort, Seydou Traoré, and Owen Freeman. Lajai Dembele just has not developed enough as far as rebounding consistently and being physically tough enough to warrant being given those types of minutes. Lajai Dembele needs to play like Melshawn Basabi or like Gabe Olasheni. Remember those guys? That's what Iowa would need him to play like consistently. So it's good to see him develop into this role. I could see a situation where, Price Sandfort steps into the starting lineup for Peyton and Lajai Dembele, because Iowa needs size, it gets back into the starting lineup again. But I think it's going to be, at this point, I think it's going to be Seydou Traore, because that's what it is now. And if Fran McCaffrey felt confident about Lajai Dembele, he would be in the starting lineup as opposed to Seydou Traore. Brock Harding only played 10 minutes, 1 rebound, 0 assists, 0 points. Evan Braun, 6 minutes. Team stats, Iowa shot 38% compared to Wisconsin's 39%. Three-point percentage, 32 to 34. Free throw percentage, Iowa only shot 9 free throws. They just don't have a guy that consistently gets to the free throw line enough. They really missed that from Owen Freeman. Whereas Wisconsin, and this was at home for Iowa that this was the case. Wisconsin shot 17 free throws and made 14. Total rebounds, Iowa lost again. They've lost a majority of the games this year when it comes to the rebounding battle. They lost 42 to 38. Assists 15 to 12 in favor of Wisconsin. Blocks 2 to 3 in favor of Iowa. Steals 5 to 5. Turnovers 9 to 9. So Wisconsin won pretty much every statistical category. Just to wrap this up, guys, because the video's gone longer than I wanted. I think it's going to be hard for Iowa to win anything moving forward unless some guys take some huge steps forward. As for my usually I am not wrong, okay, when it comes to my assessment of Iowa men's basketball. Even last year, I wouldn't consider myself wrong because I did predict that Iowa would be close to a 21 team last year. But I did say that they would make the NCAA tournament, and they did not, but they came really close. They were right on the cusp of making the NCAA tournament. Where I was wrong this year is I overvalued Peyton Sandfort's development. He's basically the same player he was last year. I thought that he would turn into more of a consistent scorer, similar to like a Peter Jok, because I would say that's who he's more similar to, is a Peter Jok. The problem is that Peyton Sandfort has not developed the multiple level scoring that Peter Jok did. Peter Jok was able to score mid-range. He could score from the three-point line. Peyton Sandfort is primarily a three-point shooter. And part of it is because of the era of basketball that we're in nowadays. But that is his game. He wants to shoot threes, and that's it. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. So that's number one. I thought Iowa would be better defensively. They have not. I thought they would be better rebounding-wise. They have not. And that's why I would say that my prediction this year was incorrect. But the main one would be the defense and Peyton Sandfort. I thought Peyton Sandfort would take a bigger step forward. On a smaller level, same thing with Josh Dix. I still continue to be really high on Josh Dix, but in the end, it's going to be up to him mentally to take that step forward that he's capable of making. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's see some of the games really quickly Iowa has coming up. They have Rutgers, which they might be able to win, but it'll be on the road. We'll see. Maybe that'll be an opportunity for a quad 1 or quad 2 game. I don't know. I don't want to take the time to look at the net rankings because Iowa just needs to rattle off some wins regardless. But there's a good chance Iowa will lose that game because Rutgers has 2 NBA quality level forwards, and Iowa usually struggles with any sort of athleticism. They have the 18th ranked Maryland Terrapins, who have kind of low-key had a decent year at home. They have Oregon, Washington, Illinois, Northwestern, Michigan State, Nebraska. So again, the season's not done. Iowa could finish hot and rattle off some wins, and there's some strong opportunities for wins, but they're just, at this point, they're just too far back. They've lost too many games, and they're too far back as far as their Big Ten rank standings go. But again, I mean, if they could finish 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They have 10 games. They'd have to finish 8-2 with wins at they'd have to beat Maryland. They'd have to pick up at least 2 ranked wins, preferably against Illinois and Maryland, maybe against Michigan State. That'd be preferable. And, they only lose 2, preferably like a on the road game. That's still considered a quad 1 game. All right, guys, thank you. But it's wishful thinking. It's a long shot, guys. It's a huge long shot. I mean, at this point, Iowa's just playing for pride and, basically looking forward to what they have next year. So, all right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share. You guys know the drill. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and factor your feelings, because your feelings just matter. Love you, Hawk fans. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.